already talked. I don't know.
Welcome back, bro.
I know.
Episode 4.
Tapu Two. Tapu Two. Tapu Two. Let's talk about celebs.
Let's talk about celebs.
Jason Momoa.
Hawaii, right? Samoan heritage?
Do you know what? I want to claim it, but I don't think he...
Those ones. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's one of ours, bro.
Because I'm thinking of him and I'm going, no, I'm thinking of his tatau, and it's definitely Hawaiian. Obviously, Aquaman.
Wasn't it cool seeing Tim and Aquaman? Tim Moira was his dad.
That's right.
And Nicole Kidman was his mum.
That's right. He lends those roles, like you can tell he just sits by his phone and he'd walk into those roles, like they'd call him and say, hey, we've got a role for you. And he can just walk in there and smash them out.
Do you think that he's been slightly typecasted?
Yeah, but I think he's at a point probably in his career where he can pick and choose. Just watching him on following his social media, like he keeps it pretty real. Like he lives a pretty sort of just...
He's a proper coconut.
You get typecast, right? You just do, because you can play those roles and you can walk into them and just and be you. So yeah, it's working for him, and he's freaking made an awesome career. I'm jealous of his Harley, bro. He's got a Harley.
I think the one role that I really, really loved seeing him in was Game of Thrones.
I agree with you.
That was my favourite role of Jason Momoa's. I think he smashed that role out of the park.
You could probably say that elevated, like that took him to... He was already next level then, but that took him to another level probably because of those reasons. And Do you know, I'd never heard of him previous Game of Thrones? True. I stopped watching Game of Thrones after that. I think it was season 1 or 2. And it's crazy that even though Game of Thrones sort of went on, everyone remembers him from Game of Thrones because of obviously his impact in the character that he played.
Well, and the fact that he was shagging
Khaleesi. I think my missus had a bit of a thing for him, so...
Bro, my missus has got a thing for him. I can't even lie. I can... Right now, I'm looking at his bloody statue action figure that's on my bloody shelf there in my front room. I'm looking at him right now, looking at me.
And I could tell, like, at the time, she would, like, look at him and then look at me and be like, why aren't your arms that big? You know? But it's all good. It's all good, babe. It's all good.
Yeah. My wife would look at me in bed, then close her eyes and think of him. But he's a brilliant actor. I love his acting.
Yeah.
Loved him in Justice League. What's really funny is when you look at Aquaman in the comics, Aquaman looks gay as hell. Just green and yellow, terrible design. Yeah. When they brought Jason in and they revamped Aquaman, he gave Aquaman a new look. It was like the Men in Black of the sea. Celeb of the day?
Let's talk about celeb.
Jason Momoa.
Jason. Also.
What's up, Darks?
What's up, Darks? I've been wanting to steer away from talking about COVID and lockdown times, but the reality of today is, especially for us right now...
You're back in lockdown, aren't you, bro?
We are in lockdown. We've been about 3... No, see, I've lost count. I think it's about 2.5 weeks we've been in lockdown. Cases are rising in Auckland. So we've just been told, as of yesterday, extra 2 weeks for all Auckland.
Really?
Yeah, extra 2 weeks, bro. I think by the time people watch this, we'll be out of lockdown, hopefully.
I've seen some of the social media videos of the lines leading into the testing stations.
They can go from, freaking packed, like you just said, to being like a ghost town, depending on sort of what's happening with the cases. But that's why the lines are going through the roof, because there's a lot of pressure right now on the South Auckland community and the Pacific communities in particular.
Why is there pressure on the Pacific people in particular?
Actually, let me go back. So we had no cases for ages. There was Bullingman and Devonport. And that was the one case, and that sort of hit the radio, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, we've got a case again." And then coincidentally, around the same time as they were trying to track where freak this came from, there was a cluster in South Auckland. Obviously, it just happens. We don't know how it kind of happened, but the media have jumped on. So honestly, I've come off it because I didn't like what is happening, and people sort of just jump on the wave. So there's a lot of things going on at the moment with how, hey, like the Pasifika community did not out this man or out Palangi or even out the North Shore for bringing the cases back into the community. But the media all of a sudden went, hey, South Auckland, what the heck, Pasifika community, in particular a Samoan church out south. So sort of that's where it's at, and I feel there's a pressurization. That's not even a word, bro, but you know what I mean.
There's a pressure.
There's a pressure right now on the Pacific community, and so pressurization to do something about it. And, there's a lot of advocates right now for our community being vaccinated, and so that is influencing us a lot. I'll be honest, I'm not vaccinated. I'm not. I'll probably eventually end up getting vaccinated, bro, because as much as I believe what I believe, I still believe we're a part of community, and we've got to do what we got to do to kind of make sure things move along, because it's not just about me. But it's getting to that point where a lot of the Pacific community, because I don't know if you know, bro, I think the numbers told the story that out of all the communities that are holding back to get vaccinated, we're sort of at the top.
So what do you think the reason is for brown people to not want to get vaccinated?
I think there's probably a few reasons. What does this vaccination actually mean? It's intrusive. We can go even further and talk tapu, like in terms of just having something that is injected in you that you don't fully, understand. We know that it's not coming from the realm of our people. We know that these things are coming, and I'm trying to speak from an overarching perspective here of what I think why people are holding back. How many times in the past have we sort of listened to the powers that be and it not work out for us, as well? That's holding us back as well. So it's that whole thing of, hey, we want to trust you, but come on, like, are you duping us again, kind of thing? I'm just trying to think.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of all these reasons as to why it's holding us back. And I'll be honest, also not to mention, I can't be bothered going and doing that. And I'll be honest, I am sort of in that boat right now too. I'm going, okay, cool. I can't be bothered right now. When it comes to the point that I have to go and do it, we'll go and freaking do it then. Okay, auntie, Okay, auntie, you got me.
Nah, you're auntie.
You're auntie.
Those are some great points, Nick. So we've got possibility is people's faith, feeling that it's the end of days. Mm-hmm. And we're looking like Revelation and the mark of the beast. So we're looking in those areas. Wow, you know what I'm saying? You've got one you said was almost like the typical, she'll be right, mate. And I'll get it when I get it. And, that makes sense. That's a typical...
Yeah.
Not just a brown approach, but that's a very New Zealand approach to things.
Yeah. How many times in the past have we been promised things?
Bro, that one.
Yeah.
That one's got so many. That's the second one that you said, that which I wanted to do last, has got so many levels. There is
many levels. It brings up intergenerational sort of. I'd like to stay away from that word, but intergenerational trauma. Do you know what I mean?
You're looking at government. You're looking at colonialization, and it doesn't have to be a black and brown thing.
Yeah.
We can definitely make this more a government and people thing, but we could make it that. But it doesn't have to be that. But we're looking at a We've trusted
you many times.
So we're looking at the Crown there.
Some families won't even have time to go and get the vaccine because it's like, hey, what am I gonna do right now to survive and put food on the table for my children? Let alone you want to tell me to go and do that. What's that going to do? So they're not even. A lot of our communities probably aren't even in that space to think like, oh, okay, I've got to help the world move forward again. What about my world, which is my family right now and its survival?
I'm sure that everyone's going to be different, but I think these particular points that you're bringing up will make people think.
Yeah, I know, and I don't.
And it'll probably resonate with a few people.
I think that's why I've sort of stayed back from posting anything, and I don't even hate on anti-vaxxers and I don't hate on pro-vaxxers because, the world does need to get going again. But I don't know, maybe we need a little bit more empathy, and the media is not helping at the moment. Yeah, that's another thing, bro. The media is not helping, and I don't know if it's just my Instagram algorithm or Facebook algorithm, but I don't see any of the racist comments coming from the community, which the media keeps saying that there is. Bro, I wake up and I put on the news, and some media outlets going, hey, everyone's being racist to the Pacifica community, and I go and look for the comments. I actually searched the other day. I went to Twitter and I went, where are racist comments towards Pacifica, and I can't find them. I also live on the North Shore as a brownie. My partner's a black South African. We walk around the community every day on our lockdown strolls. I don't feel any angst towards me. No one's giving me eyes. People are waving. People are smiling. White people. And so I'm going, mate, media, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry to swear, not sorry. Like, of course there's pockets of racism probably directed at these clusters in South Auckland. But once again, I'm going to dip my toe into the speculation thing. Why are you pressurizing? Like, why are and I'm talking media. I'm talking media. Why are you pressurizing the situation for? And how did it coincidentally happen right now around a time where the eyes are on the world, little old perfect New Zealand, going, oh, your vaccination rates are low. Okay.
It's quite interesting that you bring the media up because there was something similar that happened here, and the media were doing the exact same thing to a group of Sikh Indian population here in the UK. It sounded exactly the same, and the BBC went in and they started to talk about, this is the lowest vaccinated people group in the UK, and they've got the highest cases, and they've got this, that, and the other. And why are they so hesitant to get the vaccination? And it's funny because I think they mentioned that thing that you said about the possibility of lack of trust towards the government, and also lack of trust towards the media pressing the information that portrays the people group in a particular way. So it's almost like they're being, the media is almost like making the people dislike them.
Yeah, no, it does.
Does that make sense? It's almost like if you make the media, if the media can make the rest of the people groups dislike this one people group, it will not entice them, but it will manipulate them in order to do something that they're not wanting to do at the moment.
Are you getting around the table and you're going, how can we motivate this community to go and do what we want them to do? Karen, what do you think? I don't know, Steve.
Going off there, in America, when it came to vaccinations, in certain states, they were offering free burgers and chips. They were offering money in order for you to go and get your vaccination to low response population, and those low response populations were black and minority. There's a very similar line going on here, bro. I think.
Yeah, I know.
It's a lack of trust. I really feel it's a lack of trust. I think you hit it right on the nail.
when something doesn't feel right as well. You're going, oh man, what? This is going on, but but I don't sense it out in the streets, and I'm very real about things, bro. I try and be real about things too.
I sent you a message. One of the people that we follow, or one of the groups that we follow on Instagram, shared something. Brown people are getting manipulated into doing something that they don't want to do. So the intention may have been great behind it, but we've seen this before. Like you said, there's a history behind stuff. And well, when I looked at that, I was immediately on distrust. Something it's like, oh, this is a great idea. So we're going to get a whole bunch of brown people. They're going to get their vaccination shot. Then they're going to hashtag and hashtag us in and say, look, I've got my vaccination. Bro, I'm not going around saying I haven't got my vaccination. Like, do you know what I mean? It's almost shares the same lines of, oh, hey, I'm gay. Or, hey, I'm trans. Or, hey, I'm this. Or, hey, I'm that. I don't care. If you want a vaccination, get your vaccination. If you don't. It's you do you, I'll do me. And I won't enforce upon you. You don't enforce. It looks really religious.
We'll see. I mean, no, bro, we've nailed it in terms of our Talanoa. Not everyone is gonna agree with us.
What is it you're actually waiting for before you get the vax?
Okay, I'll be honest. If I'm focusing on my world right now, which is my home, my lockdown, my dad, he's in a certain age range, is more susceptible to the virus and any virus in particular. He's got the jab in our house. He's the only one. My cousin is here. My cousin actually has got the jab. So me and Joss, me and my fiance, my partner, we haven't. So I'm making sure he's okay because he's reacted a little bit over the last week. Not drastically, but his energy levels have changed quite a bit. He felt a fever come on a couple of days ago, and his temperature sort of went down a lot. And he was like, "Son, I think I might have something." And he self-isolated for like a whole day. I'm waiting till I have to get it, honestly, because I know that I'm healthy. I keep my distance anyway. I sanitize. I wear my mask. So yeah, when it comes to the point that I know that I have to get it, or I can't sort of get a job without it, then freak, go get it.
You know, if the possibility came that you couldn't get a job without it, that does kind of line up with the end of times perspective that people have, because it says in the Bible that you know, the mark of the beast, you won't be able to buy or sell.
It's crazy how accurate a lot of that stuff is in Revelation, and people want to call us, religious bigots. Take the word religion out of it and just see that as a historical text. Take Christianity out of it and just see someone that made some predictions about the future.
You said it quite it's almost nonchalantly, when I'm not able to get a job, then I'll get the vax. I was like, that's literally when I'm being forced not to be able to buy and sell, I'll get the jab. That's crazy.
Because leading up to it, me and my partner were sort of living in our fantasy world, leading up to in the last year, going, babe, we're gonna go live in rural New Zealand, and we're gonna be fine. We're gonna get away from the. I don't know why I'm talking like this. None of us talk like that, but. But no one's gonna be exempt from that. We could go, hey babe, let's go live in Dargaville and start our own. No. No matter where you go in New Zealand, you're gonna need that vax.
Fuck you, Apple.
I was telling you, it doesn't matter what you think. Cryptocurrency.
Have you got any crypto? You got any coins? Got any bitcoins there, cuz?
I dabbled a little bit last year, man. I met someone who told me about it, and he said, look, if you've just got £200 spare, start to dabble into this, chuck it in, here's the website, here's the app. It's going to tell you how to start to read inflation and when to take out your money and put it into another share and when to put it in. So, bro, it worked. It worked. I had £200 spare and I chucked it in and we saw it grow. Sort of went up. I sort of didn't even worry about it for a bit and came back and I checked the app and saw I was up to like £700 after a few months. But crypto, bro, it's interesting because it's surprising in a good way, like how much of our people are starting to jump on that buzz of how to capitalize in your finances outside just the working day to day. Probably something that a lot of the other communities in our world have been on for a while.
I don't know extreme amounts about cryptocurrency, but I know that a year ago, maybe a year and a bit ago, the Bitcoin was around about £9,000, and today it's sitting around £27,000 to £30,000. So if you had a Bitcoin, which was $9,000, you would have tripled yourself.
You look at that and you wish you're like, oh man, why did I buy it when it first came out, man?
And again, trust issues with anyone that's going to discuss with you anything about cryptocurrency. So even when you do your own little bits of research or looking around, it's still quite scary to hand over your cash in order to buy this thing that's just numbers and on a screen, you know, and what's its actual value and how do I use it and do I need a bank account or
it's crazy.
So yeah, at the moment I've got £127 in my Bitcoin wallet. I didn't want to tell people about it because I didn't trust it myself. I was expecting my $300 to go out, and you know I've got 3,000 sitting in there at the moment, and I've spent 600 of it.
I wonder if in schools nowadays, like in economics, because it's an option, I think it is still in college, if they teach this stuff, because this is a lot for me. Less so now this year after learning more about it, but I wonder.
Well, it would make sense because when we were coming up as kids, you know, we had economics, we had home economics, we had just the normal standard stuff that you learn. Computer or IT was very, very new. So our computers were old school and you could just barely chat on them, you know. We just got modems, you know what I mean? The internet was this new and up and coming thing. Nowadays, you know, people are going to be having jobs in different areas, so it would make sense to promote in towards the digital realm. Investing your money into Ethereum. The two main earners is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the biggest, and Ethereum is around there. So the way that Bitcoin works is that it's a set amount of Bitcoin. I think it was like 24 million. They won't make any more. I can't remember what the exact number is, but it's something like that. So there are 24 million coins, and they won't make any more coins, and then you kind of work within that realm. Because a lot of people farm Bitcoin, so they buy computers, and they let their computers...
Bro.
I don't know how it works, but it doesn't matter what I think. But they it doesn't matter, and I might look ignorant on this. I don't care. But I've had conversations with friends. I've got a friend who's got who's local here where I live. He's got 26 Bitcoin, and he had them back in the day when they were chump change. But Ethereum is the place to actually go. So 3 months ago was under 2,000. Today it's over 2,000. It's growing very quickly. I want to invest in Ethereum. Yeah. If I have any spare cash.
I don't know much about it, but I know that things can be unpredictable and unstable. So that's the other thing too, is trusting the stability of it. And we love hey, I'm gonna go work for my money. I'm gonna get my money. I'm gonna put it in the bank account. It's gonna stay there. I'm gonna save it. I know what it's doing. There's no inflation, no whatever, blah blah blah. There's still a bit of me in that little bit of old school in me when it comes to finances, bro.
Now here's a different thing. So that's cryptocurrency. The UK are looking to bring out their own version of cryptocurrency called the Britcoin, which I personally would stay away from. So the whole point of having The whole point of having cryptocurrency is that it can't be regulated. So the man can't get his dirty little fingers in there and tax it. If they create their own version, which is the Britcoin, and if governments start to create their own version, then they get to regulate the coin or regulate that finance, and they get to tax it. It's all about me, 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 me.
And myself.
And yourself. Rumor has it that you've been watching videos. Last week you said you've been watching some very YouTube videos. Hey, as Polynesian men, and as men in general, and as men who have come from faith backgrounds, one of the most self-damning and self-condemnation ways of living is to indulge in a bit of porn, a bit of pornography, bro.
Wait, what? Bro, you cannot say that word.
Sorry.
You cannot. We can't talk about this here.
Oh, hell yeah, we're talking about this. This is a great taboo subject. Pornography is a massive sin in our community. It is looked down upon as, you're going to hell. It brings a lot of self-condemnation upon our men and young people. With all the tight restrictions that we have on our families and our sons and daughters, pornography's become far more accessible nowadays than when I was a kid. When I was a kid, it was a magazine, and we used to go to the back of the dumpster where the shop was, and any mags that they couldn't sell that were out of date, they threw them in the trash, and would go through, find all the mags, and hello.
Even when you go into the shop and your dad is going shopping, and you know exactly where the area is where the magazines
and
are.
They
and
were always,
I'm just gonna go get some chips.
As a kid, they were always at eye level for a child.
Wow, this is an interesting subject, bro. And like you say, there's going to be so many different angles on it. I remember the first time that I saw a porno magazine. I was 11. It's crazy how vivid it is in my memory. Like I remember I was at the end of our street. It was a dead end, and there was a dumpster. And I was playing there, and there was just a magazine sitting on a pile of sticks. And I picked it up, bro, and the effect that it had on me, if I can compare it to drugs, bro, because if you actually look into the science of it, that a lot of people don't know, it's proven that the chemicals that are going on in your brain, the same things, if not more, of an effect than when you're doing cocaine. I learned a lot about what it meant for me in terms of shame and guilt. But the shame and the guilt for me was attached to, because I told you I was sexually abused on a few different occasions as a child. And so, your body shouldn't go through things before a certain age, and mine did. And so anything of a sexual nature, and these are things that I've dealt with in therapy over my adult life, have always brought shame and guilt, and caused a lot of different areas in my life. So there's been a lot of things in what you said last week, bro, bringing things into the light. The next time I saw a visual, it was I was at my mate's house, and we were watching a movie, bro. Guess what it was called, bro? It was called Freaks of Nature.
I just want to apologize for you having seen one of my movies. It was never meant to reach your eyes. I just want to apologize, all right?
It was I can't quite articulate it other than the fact that I felt guilty, but I wanted to watch it. I was really excited by it, bro. And I remember my mates sort of going, "Oh yeah, this is boring, we're going to go." And I wanted to stay and watch. I felt like pornography was an addiction because of the guilt and shame. And a lot of people would look at the fact that I went to a private school that was top notch, and in a boarding school, and I had all these benefits. But actually that school provided the perfect recipe for my addiction, because pornography was on tap in the boarding house. That it'd just be passed around, and you could go to your Asian mate and give you some Asian porn. You could go to your mate next door. He could give you some normal porn and
all the pages were stuck together.
Stuck together. For me, that caused a huge thing in my life, and obviously too as a Christian, and as someone always looking at life through a faith lens, bro, that halted my life in a lot of areas, and a lot of my mates and a lot of people don't realize this. It's still something that I can struggle with in hard times, because that's the thing I'll go to, because it's the thing that's going to give me a fix. But it's the thing. I understand what it is for me, and I'm open with my partner about it. And transparency, bring things into the light. Everyone has their crutch, but I think it starts with the kalangoa about it, because some people are gonna this is gonna resonate with some people. I've gone back to that little boy that felt guilty all his years and gone, bro, you're all goods, mate. Like, you're all goods. That stuff just happened to you. And if I end up watching it every now and then, I'll still feel guilty. I'm not going to lie. But it's not overly consuming. It doesn't consume my life, and there's not this chain around my neck going, bro, you are a bad, bad, bad boy, man. I actually feel like I broke the chains because I went to therapy and I understood it in my life.
How I was actually introduced to porn was I was really young, between 3 and 5, and I believe my mother and stepdad were watching porn on the TV, on the VHS or something like that, or it was a sex scene on the TV, and I remember just sitting there and looking at the TV and going, what is this? And I remember looking around, and those two were drinking, and I remember just watching the TV, and no one batted an eyelid at that. I was sitting there watching this thing. I got to experience that, and just similar to yourself, it quickly grabbed a hold of me, and it became a comfort for my life. I brought it into my marriage, so I had an addiction to porn, man, up into my 30s. From a very young age. So from the age of 5, I had an addiction to porn up into my 30s. And as I said last week, that I held a lot of guilt and shame in many areas. But my sexual area was another place that I held a lot of guilt and shame. I then remember, so coming into my adult years, and the internet now being available, and how accessible, from like 1998, how accessible porn became. I bought my first computer in 1998, and I remember just being able to download pornography, and I had dial-up, and it would take for a 3 megabyte video scene. You know how small that scene is, but
too long. It would take too long.
It would take so long. Like
no pun intended.
Take like 45 minutes to download a stupid video, but I would have 20, 30 videos all lined up ready for download. Head off to work, come back, and left the internet on, and these things were all downloaded, and then I would just consume it all in one go. Once I started to find out the reason why I did what I did, I was self-medicating. I was trying to comfort myself, when life was a little bit of a pain. The best place to turn to for instant gratification was porn. I used to lead music within the church, and so like you talked about guilt and shame, so my guilt and shame would just follow me everywhere. And so I remember just crying out to God and saying, oh, take this away from me, because it seems to consume my life. And I'm just like, just help me. I don't want to do this. I really don't, but I really do. I don't want to do this, but I love the gratification that it gives me. But I hate the guilt that I feel. And I hate the distance that I cause myself between me and others. Like, it would cause a separation between me and people.
It does, bro.
and it would
Thank you, bro. Definitely.
and it would cause a separation between, I think, between me and God, not between God
Yeah.
and me. I can't separate him from me, but
Mm.
I separated
Amen to that.
myself from him. That self-medication, I never ever was fulfilled. And then there were times that I would go long periods without
Mm.
having to watch it or not watching, and then I'd have like a mishap in life, or I'd feel really low about myself. My self image, my self love was so low that I thought, oh, you know what, I'll watch a bit of this and then I'll feel better. And there's something really
Mm.
interesting about porn. And one thing that I realized about myself, one of the reasons that I watched porn was because the actress always wanted me
Mm.
in that sense. So when I was watching it, it was like, oh, you know, she wants me.
Mm.
And if I looked into that deeper, I always had a massive sense of rejection that I carried within myself, that I was never enough, that I wasn't really wanted. And it leads back to my childhood relationship with my biological father. I heard
Mm.
stories of him saying, you know, as soon as he saw that I was born, he told my mother, you know, he's not mine.
Mm.
And so there's these carry-ons that
Yeah.
happen because I felt rejected all the time. Watching porn, the actress, you know, they always want the. I would put myself in the scene, and I'd feel
Mm.
wanted by the actress, even though she didn't want me.
Yeah.
I was wanted. I was wanted by someone, and I could
Yeah.
watch my favorite actress or whoever and be wanted. They always
Yeah.
wanted me. So leading into my married life, I still had a porn addiction. Like I
Mm.
said, up into my 30s, I didn't hide it from my wife. I just didn't want her to see me doing it. I was still leading music within the church. I did it for decades.
Mm.
So I would do, um, I'd watch porn all week. I'd get to Saturday, I'd stop watching porn because I was going to go and lead the music at the church. And so I'd ask for
Yeah.
forgiveness on the Saturday and get back into a really Catholic way of looking at things. You know,
Yeah.
I asked for forgiveness. I'd get it on a Sunday. I'd smash it in music. And
Mm.
then I'd come away from that feeling, you know, another success. Oh, that felt amazing. And I'd get to 10 o'clock at night just before I went to sleep. And then I'd feel really awful about myself. I think,
Mm.
I'll just watch one. I'll just watch one. End up watching it till 2 o'clock in the morning, knowing that I had work the next day. That went on rinse and repeat for years. I finally found freedom, like yourself, and broke the chains of the addiction to porn and its hold over me. That's why I
Hold.
talk about it so freely.
Yeah.
Its control over me became very minimal.
Yeah.
And I then went 3 years without watching a single bit of porn. And then I had a relapse as such, but not with addiction. Just, you know, those similar feelings of not rejection. Well, yeah, no, I'd say that there was a baseline of a little bit of rejection still in there, and I'd watch the occasional porn, and
Mm.
um, you know, I'd feel my wife didn't love me, or at those
Mm.
times, you know, or it was a bit of a rough season, and you know,
Yeah.
um, within our marriage, and we've had a couple of rough seasons in our marriage, and I thought, oh well, I'll just watch a bit of porn and not worry about that issue. Oh, we're not
Yeah.
communicating properly. Oh, I'll watch a bit of porn. I can communicate with the actress there, and then things were
Yeah,
going
bro.
all right, and I introduced my wife, as I said before, to porn, and so she said, show me some of your stuff," and I was like, "Okay,"
Mm.
and so we watched a movie version of a porno, and she was like, we watched the whole thing, and I was hoping to, you know, get a leg over. It didn't happen, because it didn't have that. It didn't have that effect upon her. Even though for me, I was just
Mm.
like, "Let's go, bro,"
Yeah.
and I was
Mm.
just like, what a dickhead." So I went
Mm.
back to porn,
Mm.
and we started our relationship again.
Yeah.
And then I finally got the freedom that it actually truly lost its hold over me. So I could probably say now that I'm not controlled by porn.
Yeah.
And if I was to indulge in it, that it doesn't control me, but I will use it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so that's the hope with indulging into these particular topics, because they're taboo and people are afraid to talk about this stuff because they feel so much guilt and shame that they're almost willing to kill themselves.
I agree, bro.
To escape this, but just so that they don't have to face people about it.
So I don't feel shame anymore. If I go back, I'll feel guilty and I'll be like, oh, babe, I had a sesh. I can't just speak highly enough of my baby. Like, she's like, that's on you. Like, I don't feel any way, because she knows my history around it. She's like, how do you feel about it? And I'm like, I feel guilty about that, but I don't feel shame. I'm passionate about the subject, bro, because I know what's happened in my life. I know what's happened in my life once I beat this thing. Once I had beaten this thing. And like you, bro, there's going to be people out there going, oh, nah, you still watch it every now and then. You haven't beaten it. But yeah, man, it's good talanoa, bro.
It's the way that the topic is approached.
Yeah.
There's a very heavy-handed way that it's been approached towards us in the past. So our religious perspective of it condemned us. So you brought up the topic sexual immorality. The way that is interpreted and then delivered to you or myself as a consumer of religion or whatever will then have an effect of how we interpret what we get up to. So our behaviors will then we manufacture a condemnation or a judgment seat against ourselves because of the way that we've been told about how the Bible talks about these particular things. I have no fear of God's judgment concerning these things. And I think that's what needs to be delivered to our young folk, our men, our women who are involved in these areas, especially from religious backgrounds like ourselves, that the actual freedom from this is knowing that God himself doesn't condemn you, no matter how the person or people around you interpret the Bible and then deliver it to you. No matter how you deliver it, people are going to feel guilt and shame. They feel that they're alone. They feel that they are the only one going through it. But we know that probably 90% of men are all over this place, from the pastor all the way down to the person who's just walked in the door for the first time. So if we were stop lying about it in the first case, and if we were open about it, then if we had the Father's heart about it, and we were able to approach this thing and find out the things that actually truly matter, the depths of ourselves and the reasons why we do what we do, and we would get that through therapy and through talking things through, and talking through with people who know this journey. Until you unravel the whys behind the behavior, the church and the people and yourself condemning yourself, you will only ever focus on the behavior.
Mention something, bro, and it brings up this sort of double-edged sword or dichotomic relationship, however you want to call it. It's the fact that, so I would sort of, when I was cagey about this issue, I would talk to some Christians every now and again about it, and they would always come back to me with this: Jesus is your way, Jesus is your counselor, Jesus is the only way. Why go to therapy? Why go to counseling? And I quickly shut off from those people. I didn't realize at the time, but I know now. I think that's also a big issue too. It ties into the stigma of how we see counseling and see therapy. Like, you talk a lot about the depths of where it came from. My mum left my dad early on, and when I was 14, and I didn't know this really deep resentment that I held towards my mum for leaving my dad. At that time in my life, I was probably going through the height of the effects of the abuse, which happened at about 10 or 11. My mother was the only one that I could open up to about my sexual traumas. She was the one. If it wasn't for her, I would still have those secrets in my closet about what happened to me as a boy. So as a teenager, I was going to porn to soothe me, like you said, to self-medicate me, bro. And I strongly felt like it was an addiction right up until the very point in therapy where I forgave my mum. And I realized how much I had loved her all along. I forgave her. I realized I hadn't forgiven her all of these years. And I realized subconsciously that I needed her throughout my teenage years to talk to her a lot about the addiction that I had in this private school that I was supposed to go to become an All Black. And yet I was it was probably the most useless import that school has ever had. Yeah, and I'm just coming back to the point of everybody watching this or whatever, man, don't shy away from spaces or therapy or counseling, because it's truly going to unlock something in your life. You know, and not to mention the fact that Jesus and God himself has ordained empathetic and healing skills and upon people's lives. You know, there are people out there that are born to be therapists, and there are the right people out there to do that, to help you unlock these things.
Look at where we're heading. Look at the healing that's come about from us moving into spaces. Moving into those spaces that no one wants to touch. Because when we touch the untouchable, they begin to become redeemed. That's people, and that's spaces, that's the depths of us. Remember, if we touch those places that are untouchable, bro, they are redeemed. At one time, I said there's going to be laughter, there's going to be pain, there's going to be tears, there's going to be a lot of stuff. And we're not going to hold back. We're going to stay with it. And we're going to give the people the raw deal.
Play us a song, Jake! Play us a song.
Oh, sing us a song, babe.
Give us a G.
Hear my cry, oh Lord. Attend unto my earnest prayer. From the ends of the earth will I cry out to thee. When my enemies encamped around me,
Yes.
you stumbled and fell. Within my heart, I will cry out to the Lord for help. Hear my cry, oh Lord. Rescue me, Lord Jesus, and take away my every fear.
I missed that grace in the hand of the sea was tame. My land and myself, the fierce Swahili. Forget the rush, cut the knot, get your hearts gone. Till it's wicked and your auntie with the flares on. You know it's sweet than the windmill mud cake. More cream than move for coconut say gay. Mr. Bean on the plane, hear the matter all the way. Faleo, I still hear Graham say, look who's in the night. Look who's in the night, just for me. For me. Oh, she says, look who's in the night. Look who's in the night on her knees. On me. It's like I know, but I don't, cause my tongue's kinda broke when it comes to ngangana though. Cause at times I play the preacher to reach a guy, mumula wuku wale kale kingo, bro. But if the waves can speak into the mountain peaks, and from the top they can see the reef, my far two fields and my lotto mules. Ililay, leali. I still hear Graham sing those locals in the night. Locals in the night on her knees.
It goes back to when I was young, and I would ask my mum, can I go hang with grandma? I'm like, my Samoan side. Every single night without fail, my grandma. 6 o'clock, bro, without fail. Yeah, play the local. Turn off the TV, turn off the lights. She'll get on her knees and she'll pray. She'll pray and pray and pray and pray. And I don't understand what she's saying, but learning about that lesson of faith in action and praying without ceasing, you know, we learn those lessons from the oldies that used to do that, you know. Those prayers that she prayed for us and for me and over her family and over their futures and over their lives, and we're living those lives now. So I just started writing about that, and then I heard this beat and I was like, this is a sick beat. And yeah, locals in the night on her knees for me and you.
You're out there and you have watched the Tapu 2 episode 4, and you feel the need to have conversation about it. Hey, why don't you just drop them in the comments? And hopefully we've started enough of a family here that we can all talk to each other and be open and honest. And there'll be someone in the comment section. It may be us, it may not be, but there'll be somebody in there that you can talk to. If you want to get in our DMs, we don't mind that, just as long as you keep your clothes on. And you know, Nick might be up for a bit of a dick pic, but I doubt it. So just behave yourself.
I don't want to